Hi guys, how's it going? Life lately seems to be going extremely fast. I mean, everything seems to happen so damn fast. Where where was I 15 years old, 20 years old. I remember just like yesterday. And the thing is that now I'm close to 30 and so much time has basically passed away. I mean, in a way that I thought I should have been doing other things or more things other than those things I'm doing right now. And it's just like there was never a moment. It's just like there was never time for the things that I really want to do, such as basically hanging out more with friends, such as basically traveling the world more, reading more, and all those stuff. And just work came into life, bills, responsibility came into plan, and those things that okay, they were necessary. I mean, almost everybody has them, if not all of them, all of us. And the thing is that I think I don't think I speak only for myself here. We basically got absorbed into how the world is basically running, and the time is running out of our hands. So the thing is that I think we have spent too much time basically caring, and we should basically uh, thinking and seeing what's happening to the world around us. I mean, why potentially so many wars are basically starting, why the economy seems to be so bad, why relationships and people are disconnected and more alone than ever. And I think that basically we are not only have all those things right now, at the same time, as humans, basically we realize that everything seems to be going so damn fast, we are not able to track it down, and those things goes at the same time goes radically fast downwards. And the thing is that how do we get here? I mean, 10 years ago, life did not nothing like this, right? And so 10 years ago, basically almost all people were much more peaceful, much more mentally healthy, much more calm, much more present, and have more plans to basically plan for their life, plan the things they want to do, and essentially make their own living at almost every part in the world. I'd say. I mean, I don't know on most places, but anyways, the world was not this much chaotic, this much fast-paced. AI is basically apparently going to substitute most human resources in most workplaces, and many people are going to stay employed. And as a young person myself coming into this world that the older generations basically never mentioned, and the thing is that all people, it's not really their fault, but at the same time they made it. And so I cannot really blame most elderly people or older generations. What I want to say is that life that used to be even 10 years ago can be applied today. I mean, wages are not up. I can almost tell you that, I can almost guarantee you they're almost down or the same, but it doesn't really matter because we have more taxes, we have more, come on, we have more, I'm sorry, I cannot remember the word. We have more inflation. It's coming our way, and basically, with all that's been happening, basically we're gonna have more oil and gases going up because of what's happening around the world, unfortunately. And so, as a young person, we ourselves need to do more things and need to be more creative and more smart with the way that we live, basically. Unfortunately, we have to reject what's going on. We have to reject, no, I'm sorry, not necessarily what's going on. We have to reject the old ways of living, the standard way of you getting a job and then building your life based on that and all that thing. We are unfortunately in a constant stress. We have to constantly think about wages. We have to constantly think about hustle culture, and all those things, and all that for just survivability. Most people at my age, and in my country, basically, have to continue work 2 jobs, basically. One job, 8-hour job, and another job just to be certain, because things are just not getting any easier. In fact, they're getting worse. And the thing is that keeps people extremely burned out, tired, and with no motivation. And basically, when you see everything around getting worse, the economy getting worse, the wages are not going up, inflation is constantly going up instead of down, the wages goes up, not the wages, I'm sorry, the taxes are going up instead of down, and you're constantly thinking about work when you don't really want to go to work all the time. You have a life to live. Basically, you want to make your own living. You want to make your own trips, your own memories, your own friendships, your own great achievements, and so on. To the point where you can just say, okay, I lived my life, that was it. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. And the thing is that most people at my age either give up, or they're extremely struggling, or they're extremely fighting. That's a very good case. And so the thing is that I believe that we have to be more creative with how we're supposed to make our living and our time. And so the thing is that the source, the spirit of the human race, basically, the thing that basically keeps everything up is hope. One thing, that's that. Second is basically meaning. Why do they think if I don't really care and there's no sense of beauty or significance, or I'm doing something important or justified in a way, to the point where I'm saying I'm good with what I'm doing? It's almost as if those things are the necessary ingredients for someone's happiness in life, but at the same time, we seem to be living in a world where the most fake, the biggest thief, the biggest fraud seems to be the one who's going to get paid the most. And that is quite frustrating. I mean, you can have basically construction workers that basically holds up the entire city, the infrastructure, the electricity, the plumbers, all those people basically. You might as well have these people basically holding society up tight and not crumble down, who can make the way that we exist today, the internet itself, the cameras I'm using right now to talk and speak to you people, the entire city itself, the buildings, everything, the electricity, everything working, all the cars, everything, the squares, everything. All those things basically can be made from people that basically are extremely intelligent, extremely hardworking, and they're gonna get paid less than, for example, a OF model that basically shows her body and basically uses single humans that are lonely and they're desperate for some companion, and she's gonna get 10 times, if not more, the wages that someone who basically holds the entire city up. And that is so obvious in this day and age. And at the same time, why would anyone try to have a great character in the end? Why would anyone try to have a meaningful, in a way, sense of work when their work does not pay? It's not really something significant. It may as well be something stupid, and at the same time is expected to do more. Well, the times that we had have passed. The thing that we used to think about our jobs, for example, if you sit in a job for 5 or 10 years, basically that job eventually is going to start paying you a lot more and basically help you do the life that you always wanted to do. And the thing is that most young people are seeing this, that it's not coming back. In fact, that this will never come back. And the thing is that not only this never comes back, the job is going to stay there. Probably you're going to have to work overtime most of the time. If someone has only just one job, if you need two jobs, basically you need to go from one job to the other. And that's just for every day. And there's no time for yourself. There's no time for you to meet people. There's no energy to do anything. You can exercise. You cannot make friendships or find a partner. You have no energy. People seem to be a lot more exhausting and tiring, and we have changed entirely, I suspect. And I don't think it's getting any better at any time soon, but at the same time, this isn't a reason to just give up. This is a reason to just start thinking for ourselves and start saying to ourselves, you know what, we need to make a difference. For example, we need to have, let's say, one steady job or change jobs, for example, and basically start creating our own thing, making our own connections and more relationships based on the authentic content that we basically provide. And the thing is that it might seem terrifying at the first, but then it seems to get a lot more easy. At least for me, it took a lot of time for me to get used to the camera. I mean, I think that has to do a lot with me and how I see myself in the camera. I think that made me uncomfortable, but now it's much more comfortable. And I think that has changed the relationship that I had with myself, because earlier I was not this comfortable because I had a different relationship with me, I guess. Something like that. Or maybe that's just I don't care anymore into how I'm being seen, because most people do not really care. I am gonna look awkward and cringe at first, but these are I suspect, I believe, the inevitable pieces of progress that you have to, in a way, suffer. But it's not really something where I don't really have to pay much attention to it. And so, anyways, I suspect what we have to do is basically find our thing in a way, and let's start being creative, because that is the way to go. We need to be more creative with ourselves. We need to be more straightforward, more determined to basically make things that we never thought was possible. And we need to start basically taking ownership of what's about to come. And so, if we are able to think some thoughts, articulate them. I'm not particularly good at the time, but I think that it's gonna come by the passing of time anyway, and by exercising and by practicing. And the thing is that I believe I can teach the things that make me feel that life is damn eternal in a way. And the thing is that I'm saying this because as a guy myself, I struggled a lot in my younger years. And exactly because I struggled and I lived a lot of pain, a lot of sadness, and to the point where I thought it would be better for me to basically harm myself, I really started thinking about myself, saying the things like, why bother? Why try in the first place? And basically, if I couldn't answer those questions, basically nothing really matters and may as well end everything. And so what I'm saying, why I'm saying this essentially is, I was trying to basically answer these questions from the very start, and basically as a guy who struggled with many relationships with many people, and now that I could say with ease, amazing relationships and best friends I could possibly ask for. It's because I managed to be, in a way, a very solid person in their eyes, despite me being in way worse situations than now. I turn out to be basically a lot more functional in my sentences and in the way I think, despite my conditions, for example. I may as well talk about this in another video. And really the thing is that if you have a person of people that basically want to listen from you, and basically give you the chance that they like you, you made a joke, or maybe you were vulnerable enough to share a story of you that was important to you, and there might as well be some relevance to the other person listening to you. That could be more than enough to basically make a relationship stand and exist for a long time. And so I think making such relationships now are much harder, and for good reason, actually. People seem to be more fake and insecure for the most part, and I'm not saying I'm any better. I'm just saying that I'm willing to be vulnerable and seem cringe like a fool, just like I'm doing right now, in order to make something great, to make something work. For example, right now here, I'm cringe. I'm making videos for a long time, I believe, but at the same time, I'm not getting any progress. But that's the point. If I'm not doing any progress, it's because I suck. It's because I'm doing this video right now to share a message. If the message is not clear, many people are not going to understand it. If I'm making something that does not make any sense, I'm not gonna make any good impressions. If I do not know how to basically grab the interest, it's my fault. And that is basically the great thing about this platform, YouTube, is that even though there is, I should say, a Mr. Beast brain rotting editing epidemic at the same time, I think that most people are tired of this, and at the same time they want a simple, straightforward message from a person who's interested to share some ideas, just like I'm trying to do right now. Well, I used to think that, or maybe I should rephrase that. I believe that when someone basically comes at his own or her own edges or at their limits in life, basically they can get cornered to the point where they're extremely thoughtful about their life, and the pressure and the pain that comes along with the condition and the consequences of having a very hard life basically pressures the thought out of someone's thought, and basically they start taking things seriously, such as, why should I give a damn about a situation? Why should I try? Why should I work hard for something I don't think I really care about and do something that's much more suitable for me? Why should I talk to that person that constantly brings me the nerves, and so on? And the thing is that when you do that, you start creating your own critics based on your own bias, of course, because you want to do the things that you want to do and speak to the people that you want. And at the same time, you can do the things that you want, however you want, the relationships that you basically want and need. And when you do that, it's like you're creating your own kingdom of how your basic your life structure, in a way, of how you indeed want to live, how you want to assemble your life. And right now I'm making it as if I'm a self-improvement coach, but not really. I just want to say that when you try to put thought in a way that is beneficial to you, thought that is beneficial to you in a way, not in a very sneaky way. How should I get the benefit without trying, without doing with doing less, but more in a way of putting some weight into your decision making and thought. That basically, if you have your own reasoning and forget about the societal nonsense, the societal pressure into how you want to have a friend, you may as well just want some relationships to work. You may as well want some amazing friendships and relationships with a partner, a lady or a man, depending. It depends on what you prefer. Well, you can have your own standards and basically give them the importance that you want. And by the time this may as well change. And guess what? People will change. Myself included, of course. Me and the people I'm talking to may as well have some way of doing things. And that is not going to be absolute. But great relationships, for the most part, I've listened that if they last for 7 to 8 years, they're probably going to last forever. And I believe we're in a crisis of not only identity, not only constantly anxious about what's coming next, what's going tomorrow. The thing is that we need to find ways to basically philosophize for ourselves and think what is important and what isn't, because life seems to be so damn fast. And basically there's no other way around it. We need to find why and what work is important. We need to find out what matters. And basically, this is what I've been trying to do from my earliest of years. That is why I was very good at the same time, either to think for myself and spending a lot of my time with myself, either reading or thinking or actually doing things that help me think. For example, I love games. I love some games, for example, some video games in particular. And I was doing that, I was playing those things, while at the same time I was listening to amazing philosophers that I thought were amazing and incredible. And that was the time of my life, while at the same time I could basically pause the game or maybe shut it down and continue the lecture that I was following, while at the same time I was basically analyzing and made conversation in my head with the thing that I was listening to. For example, I'm an amazing Alan Watts fan, right? I think he's my favorite intellectual, my favorite philosopher to listen to, and basically he's utterly underrated. I think he should be much more popular, in my opinion. But anyways, I love his way of thinking. It is so obvious to him that I think that he has discovered life more than anybody else. And the thing is that he's so amazing in my eyes. Basically, how I discovered him, I was watching some anime with my brother, Hunter x Hunter, amazing anime by the way, which there was a guy, Netero, that was that has some Buddhistic powers in a way. And so the thing is that I was watching him, and then after I just finished the anime itself, is that I basically started searching for that character and how he was designed, and I was searching and basically listening from YouTube, more lectures about Buddhism and all that, until one day basically the algorithm pushed, in a way, provided me, I should say, a video about your dark side. That was a small part, or maybe even a bigger part from that anime, Hunter x Hunter. Basically, malice is part of the human condition in a way. And humans are always going to be on top, but that's another thing. And from that moment and onwards, I listened to that video, my first video of Alan Watts in 2018. And I fell in love with his way of talking and how he basically made everything look so easy. But anyways, that was how I met his first video. I'm saying this to say that I had my own influence into answering my questions of what it means to be alive and why bother and all those stuff. And his biggest art, I would say, his biggest achievement, or maybe in a way achievement, I don't know if he ever did it, is to basically, he was a Westerner that was trying to learn and read so much of Eastern philosophy and Eastern religion to the point where he wanted to combine and help the one side understand the other. And that seemed to be profoundly amazing and wise, in my opinion, because we don't want any more diversification. We need more unity. We need more acceptance that there are people who are different from us. And the thing is that when people accept that others are different from us, essentially there's no need to prove anything. You just have to accept that in the same world there is ocean, there's air, there's the sun, there's the earth, and there's everything, every being that we call today as Westerners living. And those things are different, yet at the same time they coexist in a way. If something does not exist, nothing else does, right? And so that kind of unity, that kind of beautiful way of seeing the world is what may as well keep the entire human race alive. And in my opinion, it's something that should never expire. And something that most of us, everybody, especially young people, need to basically give it some rebirth. We need to have our heads up, be hopeful, and basically give so much interest to other people's perspectives and religions and interests and all those things. All our differences basically should be in a way understood. And life can be amazing and torturing at the same time, but that is the thing. That is how life is anyway. That's how existence is anyway. In the form that we have right now. I'm sorry, once again. And exactly because time goes so fast, we don't have so much time listening to all those things. And I've made the decision that I don't want to spend so much time outside. I just want to have my steady job and basically have my steady income, my humble income. And then go to my home and start writing and start basically listening to this person in particular, Alan Watts' amazing lectures. Not this AI nonsense that we listen instead. And it's amazing that I may as well be in my tiny cute little room and seeing the world with so much more wisdom and so much more richness and awareness, to the point where I'm saying, you know what? Even though I'm all day in my cute little room, I chose that because I want to learn more about this world. I'm in my room because I want to learn more about the world instead of me going outside of the world myself. Because, why? Why? Because I decided I wanted to learn more about the essence of the world rather than the surface, in a way, the surface of how the world works. In a way, it's just like wanting for you to go outside and see how people work or see how the world and the laws of nature work when you can be in your exactly same room and basically either study for human psychology, human neuroscience, human interactions and communications, and physics or chemistry itself. And basically when you study all those things, you know literally much more better the world outside, the people and the nature that awaits you, right? And so I decided to do that about the essence that I thought to myself was important. Why live? Why is important to live? Why this world is beautiful and at the same time so cruel? And I think it has to do with the way that we exist and the way that we basically decide to live, or give importance to some things and ignore others. And if if life is dependent on those things, what are we going to choose and what are we going to ignore? Well, I think that either we can use it to our advantage, or we can let it destroy our consciousness entirely based on what is much more popular these days, the social media, the damn social media. Well, the social media had a meaningful part, just like I'm trying to do right now with you. But at the same time, it has brought so much comparison, so much attention destruction in a way, brain rot for many people. I think that as time goes by, people are waking up even more, and the more that we wake up, the more we realize that, you know what, this is just not worth it. It's not worth it. Some minutes or a video entirely constantly bombing ourselves and they're using the brain chemicals to basically make it more exciting and much more reactive and constantly make you think and drain your brain energy into such things that you're not going to remember in a few minutes from the moments that you finished it, right? And people are getting more into detail, more into storytelling, much more into love doing something that they think it's worth it. And life is going to change with us, basically deciding that we're going to reject the modern way of living. We are going to do the things that we want more. We are going to basically make decisions for ourselves. We're going to stop believing so much what the old ways were. With the internet and YouTube itself, we have so much more opportunity. We have so much more chance of basically making real, genuine connection with people all around the world. And I think this is going to get much more popular, and people are going to be less afraid. They're gonna start talking more about their thoughts and more about their things, more about their regrets, more about what other people should avoid as mistakes. And I think we're on a verge of complete change again. And we'll see how this is gonna go. Well, I'm sorry it took so long, but I really enjoyed it. I had real inspiration for this video. I may as well listen to what you have to say, whatever you want. And I can tell, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Right? Well, see you again, and thanks again. Goodbye.